Hey there, welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for the week of May 8th. This week is all about feeling and healing. My name is Shauna McGrath. I'm an astrologer and a women's coach. And in this video, I'll share with you the astrology of the week, and then I have 3 tips for you to harness this energy. So the biggest thing that's happening this week is we have a full moon in Scorpio. It's on Wednesday, May 10th. And this full moon is exact at 2:42 p.m. Pacific time at 20 degrees of Scorpio. And so a full moon in astrology, the moon is related to your intuition, your heart, your feelings. It's your emotional nature. And so the lunar cycles show us, they reflect what it is that's happening on the inside. So this is different for everyone, but we all get to experience something bubbling up to the surface of our consciousness. So this full moon being in the sign of Scorpio, there may be scorpionic kind of themes. Scorpio is all about going into the depths of your psyche. It's about healing and feeling and developing a strong sense of trust in your intuition. And so this full moon may feel a little bit intense. It may feel like there's some dark material that like dark unconscious patterns or behaviors or belief systems that are coming up for you to be aware of. And this full moon is aspecting the planet Pluto, which amplifies and complements these scorpionic kind of themes. Pluto is also about regeneration and transformation, and Pluto represents the birth, death, renewal process. So what I want you to know this week is that some intense stuff may come up, some intense feelings. Like I said in the beginning, it's all about feeling and healing. So just remember that these feelings, they will pass. And whatever it is that's coming up, the more that you can allow yourself to feel and to accept, not reject, but accept what it is that's coming up for you, the more that you'll be able to process. So this week it's great to journal, to talk to a friend, if you have a counselor or a therapist or another kind of healer that you work with. Often it may be a good idea to schedule a proactive session this week, just because things, to be honest, it may feel a little bit intense. And again, this is different for everyone. If you have any personal planets close to 20 degrees of Scorpio or Taurus, this may feel more intense for you. But again, I want you to notice what comes up for you, what it is that you're feeling. That's the most important. The other aspect that's happening this week is we have Mars in Gemini squaring Neptune in Pisces. And so this is Mars, your motivation, your action kind of energy, squaring Neptune, which is about dissolving things. So this week it may feel like things are a little bit murky. There may be like a sense of not knowing or not having a sense of clear direction. Mars is about being ambitious and going for it, and Neptune is about dissolving things. So there's like this where you may feel like you want to take steps forward, but you don't have the energy maybe, or there's not a clear action path. So you, again, notice how you feel this week. That may or may not come up for you. But this is a week where it's best to focus on what it is that's going on the inside versus what's happening on the outside. So that brings me to the 3 tips for this week. So tip number 1 is to focus on being versus doing. So this is not necessarily a week to focus on getting shit done. This is a week to focus on being with yourself and processing things. If I were to create an ideal week for someone, I would say lots of journaling, lots of rest, lots of self-care. Because of this Mars square Neptune and the full moon together, there's a lot of internal work going on this week, if you allow it. And so that's where you're going to really see a lot of progress, is in your ability to internally process things. So that's tip number 1, to focus on being versus doing. Tip number 2 is to record your ideas this week. So write things down, journal, do voice memo, even if you have like a thought that comes to you when you're at a certain place, maybe take a picture of it on your phone. And that is to help with this processing of emotions and behavior patterns that are coming up for you this week. And Mercury is still conjunct Uranus, and it's actually going to be exact this week. So you may have some little nuggets of wisdom that come up for you this week. So that's tip number 2, to record your ideas. Tip number 3 is so important this week, to remember that feelings are fluid. And I say this because especially when there is Scorpio or Plutonic kind of energy, it can feel really intense. And when you're having an intense feeling, especially if it's shame or guilt or something of that sort, it feels like it will last forever. And I promise you it will not. So the more that you can allow intense feelings to come up and just be with yourself, the more that things will flow, because feelings, they are fluid. They're very much, that's why the moon in astrology is related to feeling and emotion, because the moon is always going through different phases. It's always moving, and it's related to the tides. There's this ebb and flow. Nothing is static. And so that's wonderful energy to embrace this week, to remember that your feelings are fluid. So that's your horoscope for the week. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, please share it with a friend. I love to get these messages out to as many people as possible. And if you'd like to contact me to ask questions or to get a reading with me, you can go to my website, neofeminine.com. Thanks so much, and I'm wishing you a wonderful week. Namaste.